On behalf of all of us at the YAAACE Time podcast, thank you for rocking with us through season 1. This season has been an incredible journey. Our set evolved, our co-host lineup changed, and we shared powerful stories and knowledge from an amazing group of guests. We hope you found it as entertaining and insightful as we did. But as we gear up for season 2, we're excited to bring you more of what you love. We've got some incredible guests already lined up, and we can't wait to share those conversations with you. But before we dive into season 2, we've got 2 special bonus episodes that we think you'll love. First, we'll take you back to the start of the year with Courtney Grant, founder of Caribbean Queen Jerk Restaurant and a cherished pillar of the Jane and Finch community.
You're tuned into the YAAACE Time podcast.
Welcome back to the YAAACE Time podcast. Thank you for joining us again. My name is Zane. I'm your co-host. I got my guy here once again.
Yeah, Lita Kailich's very own.
And today we have Courtney joining us. Courtney, why don't you introduce yourself to everyone?
Yes, and so my name is Courtney Grant. I'm from a little tiny part of Jamaica on the east side, St. Thomas, Trinityville, of course. And yes, I'm married with 2 kids. My wife, Carleen, Devon, Shivani. And I'm from a family of 4. My mom is still alive. My father passed away. And they're all in the States. So that's it on my side for now.
And we could see from the shirt that you're wearing here, Caribbean Queen. Tell us a little bit about the work that you do.
Yes, and so I'm the CEO. I'm the big guy, the big fish, the big soup of Caribbean Queen Restaurant. Caribbean Queen Restaurant, we founded that business in 1998. And so before I go into that, let me just retract a little bit. I came here from Jamaica in 1998 as a trucker. And I did over the road for 2 years. I realized that I was going to be away from the family after spending so much time in Jamaica from the family. My wife came here in 1993 when we got married. And so I spent 5 years from her because I was in the military. And so I didn't want to travel. I didn't like Canada. I had a contract back then. I was an instructor in the Jamaica Defense Force. And so when my time came, I said, you know what? I have to leave. And so I left Jamaica in 1998 and I came here. At that time, I did trucking. And then I realized I was gone from the family. And so I said, you know what? I need to do something local. I bought a couple of street trucks and I started working with Sears at the time. And we were very, very successful. And so I started getting tired at the age of 45, of course. And so I said to the wife, you know something, we're going to leave this business. She said, no, what are we going to do? I said, I want to run a restaurant. Having no restaurant experience, it just came to me that I need to run a restaurant. And so at the time, I used to eat out a lot. And so there was a restaurant, I don't want to call the name, on Jane, Western Road and Finch. My sister-in-law was working there at the time. Suzette, she's still working with us. And so I said to her, one day I walked in there, I said to her, I think this guy is going down. When he decides to sell this business, let me know. And it was like a God-given gift. Literally half an hour after I left that place, she called me and she said, you know that the guy told the helper in the kitchen that he's going to sell the business? And I said, ask him how much. And so he said he wanted $50,000 for the business. I said, okay, no problem. I got a draft. I was in my truck. I turned back. I went to my attorney. I got a draft. And I gave the guy a draft for $10,000. And we finalized the business. Long and short of the story, that was where we started Caribbean Queen Restaurant. How did the name Caribbean Queen came about? There was a popular phone card in Canada at the time. The name of it was Caribbean Queen. And I said to myself, my next restaurant, my next business is going to be Caribbean Queen. And so I named it Caribbean Queen. So we have been in business since 2008. That's when we founded the first location at Finch and Western Road.
Wow. Yeah, that's a leap. That's a huge leap of faith,
Yes.
coming as you had mentioned with no background in that particular industry. And I always find that, like, with restaurants, they say it's one of the riskiest industry to go into. And what made you so confident, or maybe times are different at the time, but like, what made you so confident that this is the sign, like, this is the road I have to take, regardless of what the statistics say about the success in the industry? Like, what was the thing that put that much faith in you to go that route, that now we're seeing this great success?
At the time, when I was leaving trucking, as I said, I was very successful. And I thought at the time that the next successful business would have been in the food industry. And so I don't know anything about supermarket, grocery store, whatever it is. I'm saying people always want to eat good food. And then I was a trucker, so I used to be living on the street all the time, right? So you taste some good food, you taste some bad food as well. Being the person that I am, I'm a Scorpion, right? And I'm a people person. I thought at the time this was one of the area that we could connect to people via food. And so that's why I was looking in that direction. You said it right. It was a huge leap of faith. I wasn't a cook. When I was in the military, I was an instructor. I was training recruits. I was doing photographic work. I wasn't a cook. And so when I opened the restaurant, I gave it to a gentleman to run. And then I came in with him, like within the first week, and I learned a certain amount of things. And then, I went back to school, do my little thing, and here I am.
Full circle.
Yes.
So a lot of the team members that you have at Caribbean Queen Jerk have been with you since the beginning.
Yes.
Correct?
Yes.
What is it that you've incorporated into the business, or what approach have you taken that's allowed you to have a staff with so much dedication and loyalty?
Let me tell you something. The restaurant business is a high turnover rate. Staffing is crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you would see a guy working at a restaurant today and tomorrow he's not working there anymore.
Yeah.
And I kind of realized that as long as you treat people with respect, as long as you have some form of incentive for them, then they will stay with you. Now, it's not that I'm paying these guys a huge chunk of money or paying them off. But what I do at Caribbean Queen Restaurant, I try to make Caribbean Queen Restaurant a family business. And when I say family, the staff is a part of the family of Caribbean Queen Restaurant. Mm-hmm. When I hire you, you have to own that business. If you can't prove to me that you own a part of Caribbean Queen, I'm not going to take you as an employee.
Mm-hmm.
And so what we do there, we try, you're going to have the ups and downs, you're going to have misunderstanding. We're going to make sure that we show our employees maximum respect. That is what we do. And you're absolutely right. Most of my staff are there for 8 years, 9 years, 15 years. There are people there with us. Susan is still there with us. She's my sister-in-law, and she's still there.
Mm-hmm.
So that's one of the things that we do to keep our staff.
It's the best type of environment to work in. I know over here at YAAACE, it's the same thing. It's a very it's like a family. It's a family environment, and everyone feels like they're a part of the family when you come in and work here. It makes you want to come to work every day.
Yes.
And perform your best.
And as I said to my staff, like, someone could be paying you $1,000 per hour. Another guy is paying you $100 per hour. But if the environment is not friendly, you don't want to go to work in stress. You want to go to work knowing that people respect what you do and people understand the nature of what they're supposed to do. And so that's what we do. One of the things that I use with my staff, I was explaining to a gentleman that I was hiring, and I said, I try to use a certain format when I'm training people. I use the EDI format. They explain, demonstrate, and then you imitate. So now you have people that are practical learners. You have people that are theoretical learners. So no care who the type person you are, you must be able to catch on to something when I finish teaching you. So
Right.
I'm going to explain to you what I want. I'm going to show you what I want. And then I want you to imitate or demonstrate to me exactly what I want.
Love that.
And that's the way we do things.
That's a great approach.
And is that like a lesson that you learned when you were in the military, or is it something that you wasn't?
It's the same format. You see, most of what I do, my success, I could only credit it on the grace of God, because I'm a Christian. I'm a deacon in my church, and my military experience. I'm proud to say my last school that I went to was a secondary school. I left school at age 16 and went straight to the military. Straight to the military. And when I came over here, I realized right away that in Canada is a similar system as the military system. It's no different.
Right.
Because you have to be early to work, and there's a system that you need to follow in Canada. Once you fail to follow the system, then you're stepping out of line. And that is the way I kind of structure my business. I run my business under principal heading, and that is the reason why we are so successful.
That's amazing.
Yeah, that's huge. That's huge. I hope you didn't copyright that acronym. I already put it in my pocket, but if you copyright, I'll take it right back out. No, that's amazing. That's amazing. And I think we had a discussion earlier, and you had asked me how I learned about your business. And I've mentioned that we were doing some interviewing with one of the schools in the community, and we heard about the amazing initiative that your business does. And can you talk a little bit more about like when it started and what motivated it to happen, and like how is it going at the moment?
And so my first location is at Finch and Western Road. Right across from that location, there's a school right off Western Road. And what I did when I opened up that location, I realized right away that kids, something just came to me. You see, I'm a person that I'm in the business 100%. 100%. And so if I'm not in the back of the business cooking, I am standing up, watching my customers and seeing exactly what I need to do to move the business to a different level. I'm not one of the guy that is going to be at home and leave my business to run. No way. I'm a hands-on guy. And so one day I was in the store, 2 kids came in there, and 3 of them came together. 2 of them bought food and they were eating. I'll tell you, this is the first time I'm giving an interview and talking about this experience. And so 2 of them, they were eating. The other guy was not. And I went over to them. The restaurant was full of kids. And I said, "Why is it that you're not eating?" And he said, "Sir, I don't have any money." So I said to the other 2, "How is it that 3 of you came inside here and both of you eating and you don't choose to share it with him?" They said to me that they didn't know you didn't have any money. And I turned to Suzette right away and I said, "Suzette, let me have a special." At the time, the special was $5. And when I gave him this special, I realized right away that the 2 that were sitting there, they couldn't find the $5 to pay for the food. So both of them had paid $4. And I went home and I thought on that thing. And I said, "Courtney, you need to do something for the students." So even though we had a $5 special that was for the adults, I am now thinking of doing something for the students. And so I brought up an initiative that I rolled out a smaller container for $3, $3.99 it was at the time. And we give them a drink with that, but only for the students. And when I roll out that $3.99, Caribbean Queen was full of kids. like all the other food places around, the name brand restaurants per se, we were giving them a hard time. As a matter of fact, there was a certain restaurant in the opposite plaza, they had to shut down. Popular restaurant, they had to shut down. We used that $3.99 and we did. Now, mark you, my markup on that $3.99 was only $1. Only $1. My costs for the drink, the food, everything inside was $3. And I was only doing $1 on that food. And it propelled me right into the TDSP, where now we are a vendor in the TDSP. We are now a vendor in the York region as well. And, courtesy of a certain principal. And so now the TDSP schools can order from Caribbean Queen Restaurant. And so we propel that $3.99, it's now $4.99, right into the school. Now the initiative that you're talking about, one of the vice principal, they were at the school at Sentinel. They knew about that program. And then when she went to that school at Westview as the principal, we sat down, we had a meeting, and I thought that I could introduce it. They wanted to stop the program. And I said to her, I went there one day and she said, Courtney, this is going to be the last week of the program. And they announced it in the school. I literally saw tears running from some of the students' eyes. Tears running. And I said to her, whatever we can do to keep the program going, I am willing to do it. If it's to, and this was in COVID time, right after COVID, I think it was. I said, if it's to bring it back to the $3.99, I am willing to bring it back to the $3.99. Let me make $1 to feed these kids. Because I believe that in our community, there are kids, there are students that cannot find $5 for lunch. I know that of a fact. And so whatever I could do at that stage, when I saw those kids crying, to keep the program going, I was willing to do that. And so the principal spoke to, the superintendents and whatever, and the program is still going, give God thanks. And so that's where the initiative started, with those two little boys inside the restaurant, and now we are in. I'm hoping and praying that other schools will get on board, but I'm telling you that Caribbean Queen Restaurant, we are willing. This is not a big money event, but we are willing to work with our community to make sure that we have no child left behind.
And that's so important. Like I cannot imagine sitting in class with a empty belly, trying to pay attention, in class. So that's huge. Like that's great work.
It is, yeah. Nothing but respect to you for recognizing that fact and doing something about it. Because in so many cases, people will just turn the other way and just opening a business is about making money for right. Then if there's no money being made there, then move on to something else. But instead, you made a pivot and helped these kids.
And as I said, that's where the no child left behind policy was birthed from Caribbean Queen. That's where it was birthed. I told the principal at that particular school over the one on Western Road. I said, if you have a child that come to school and they genuinely don't have any lunch, send them over to Caribbean Queen Restaurant. We will feed them. And all of my staff at that location know and have the instructions from me that once that child, we're not talking about our extortionists, we're not talking about people that heat up them food and them lunch and then they come and they're trying to do stupidness. I'm talking about the principal will send that child with a note, or a teacher will send a child with a note, and we will feed them. I believe I came from a very poor background in Jamaica. My father didn't have it. My mother didn't have it. When I have to leave school to join the army at age 16, I knew what hard life was. And when I migrated to Canada here, God has blessed me, and I started doing my business. I said, God, all I want to do is to able to give back to the community, because God has blessed us so we can bless someone else. That is my belief.
Absolutely. What did you find was the hardest thing coming to Canada? What was the biggest thing for transition wise for you?
The cold for sure. The cold. As I was saying to you earlier on, when you're in Jamaica, if you have never traveled before and you hear about Canada, the US, and England, all you hear about Canada is cold. It's the coldest place on earth. So if you not prepared to come and face the cold and the snow, whatever it is, but I had no choice. As I said before, I'm a Christian, and my family background is straight Pentecostal Christian. And I believe that the family structure should be mother, father. When my wife got pregnant and she had that baby in 1995, I knew right away that I had no choice but to leave the army and come, because I wanted to be there for that my son. And that's exactly what I did. I had no choice. It was either she coming back to Jamaica or I come in here to live. And so I said to my sergeant major at the time, I said, look, I'm going to Canada to do a recce. It's a military term, reconnaissance, right? I'm going to do a recce, and I'm going to be going up there for 6 months. If I don't like it, I'm coming back to the military. And he said, okay, Corporal Grant, no problem. So when I came, I realized right away there was lots of opportunity here. Lots of opportunity is in this country. And there are a lot of people that come here and they are sitting on the sideline waiting for things to happen. If you don't go out there and look it's not going to happen for you. When I came here, I had to go through an agency to get agency work. So I start from the bottom like everybody else. I started working $5 an hour through the agency when I came here back in 1998. But guess what? I knew exactly what I wanted, because I came here with an international license, and I got my truck license, and then I started doing my thing right away. So I knew right away what I wanted. And so that's what I did.
I'm trying to think. I'm actually trying to build on what you had said, right, about knowing what you wanted. And I think what could be, can you elaborate on knowing what you want? Like, in a way, let's say we're trying to inspire young kids who are looking to go into business, right? And there's a lot of times where people are like, you know what? I want to have the best life, right? But in order to have a best life, you have to have best years. In order to have best years, you have to have a best year. In order to have a best year, it's best month to days to hours, right? So it builds up instead of just focusing on the end goal. So what does it look like, that journey from having an idea into making it happen?
And this is what I always say, because when one of the things why my staff like me, is because I'm not a preacher on the pulpit. I preach around the pot and stove in the kitchen. That's where I preach. But what I'm saying to them is making sense. What I try to do is try to educate them as to what they need to do in this country. Because as I said before, I came from the bottom up. I have never seen a house being built and they start from the roof down. You have to build a foundation first.
For sure.
And anything at all, any business, any family that you're going into, you have to have a foundation. So now, a part of your foundation could be the reconnaissance. So you're going to look, you want to build a house, you need to make sure that the ground is solid. You need to make sure that this is where you want to build a house. You don't want to live in Ajax and you build a house in Pickering. You're going to build a house in Ajax. And so I said to my daughter, when we were in England, because she's over there doing law, and I said to her, did I force you to do law? She said, no, Daddy, I am doing this off my free will. I said, why are you doing law? And the type of law that my daughter is doing, she's doing real estate and she's doing corporate law. Now, those are the two areas that she must get work. And what I realize is that most of what I said to her, that is what she's trying to build on, because I'm huge in real estate. And I always say to my daughter, if you're going to invest in anything, I don't care about anybody else. I don't believe in stock. I don't invest in stock market. I don't believe in it, and I don't invest in it. I'm not saying it's not good. I just don't believe invest in it. I believe the safest investment that anyone can do is real estate, whether land, house, anything, because it always appreciates, especially if you select where you're going to be putting your house or where you're going to buy your land. And so this is the same thing for anyone going to do a business. You need to do your research. You need to do your homework. You need to work hard and make sure that if that is your aim, you pray with God's help, you will make it, my friend.
That's some wisdom. That's some wisdom over there. You carried it for. You said you preach around the kitchen. You brought it out. You brought it out here. Yeah,
that's amazing. I was wondering also about the food that you serve. How do you ensure? Because not every Jamaican restaurant is built the same in terms of quality, all that. How do you ensure that your quality stays at a certain level across all your locations and remains authentic to the original recipes that you have?
My customers run my business. I have a terminology that I use when I say the customer is always right. And some of my staff don't like when I use that terminology. But then I explain to them. I said, if a man come and throw a stone through the glass, him just give away his right. So we're going to get him arrested. We're going to lock him up or something like that. But if the customer comes in and order a small soup, you clearly hear the customer order a small soup. And then when that soup comes out, they say, no, I wanted a medium. Don't fight with him. Just change it right away, my friend. Give him the benefit of the doubt. That's when I said he's always right. He's always right. Even though you clearly hear what the customer said, you are going to make sure that you change that soup to satisfy that customer. Because look at it this way. The moment you start fighting with that customer, someone might be in the back of the line that's going to walk right out because they're going to see you fighting with that customer.
Yeah.
How do I make sure that my food is authentic, and how do I make sure that the flavor of my food? I listen to my customers. Now, there are certain things that we do in-house. But unlike every business, you could lay down your standard and have your measurement, your this, your that. Especially Caribbean food, we go by flavor.
Right.
So even though it's 3 cups of this, 2 cups of that, 4 cups of that, you have to make sure once you do that, you taste it. And if it doesn't taste good, you're going to pinch a little bit more. And so I listen to the customers. If the customers is saying that the food is salty, and now we have social media to help us, right? We have Instagram, we have all kind of things to help us.
Google reviews are a big thing also
because
nowadays.
Sometimes people don't come back to the restaurant and make noise, but they will throw it on Instagram. So I have my people that is following those Instagram all the time, and we listen to our customers. Now, I develop an authentic taste for my food because I know what the customers are looking for. And so I can walk into the kitchen and check certain things and know right away that it's off. Because I know the taste. I've been in it for 15 years. So I know what the customers are looking for. And so that is how I'm able to manage my business to make sure that the food stays balanced every single day.
And in terms of your recipes, where do they come from? Are they family secrets in there, or is it?
Well, the gentleman that started my business, as I said before, I wasn't a cook.
Right.
And the world know this. All my staff know this. I came from Jamaica as a soldier. And when I came, I fit in and I do what I have to do. he started the business and he was doing cooking for a very long time. So he do it huge scale, wide scale. And so where we always have an argument is when I would go to him and said, so why don't you do, portion this, portion that, and try to see if we can have the same flavor for everything other than freelancing. And he got upset at me. He said, you're not a cook, you're a truck driver. So I said, okay, boss. And so he quit. Within 2 months, he quit because he never liked how I was, trying to get certain things cement down. And I am here to tell everybody listening or watching this interview that with God, you can do all things. Just make sure that you are positive and know what you're about to do. When this guy left us, I couldn't even turn a pot of rice and peas good. But I watched what he was doing.
Mm-hmm.
And what I did, the same thing that he left, the same reason why he left us, is the same things that we implemented, got a system. And it is the same thing that we are doing 15 years later that propel us to 5 locations. And now we are looking to open up our banquet hall. We don't want to get into that yet. Mm. But it's the same system and stuff that he used, that I use to make that fry sauce and make certain. I do things a little bit different. But any single day you go to Caribbean Queen restaurant and taste that fried chicken sauce, it's going to taste the same way. The jerk chicken is going to taste the same way. Mm. Or it's supposed to, as long as the staff is following what they're supposed to do. Yes.
So I saw your acronym over there. You said educate,
EDI,
demonstrate,
yes,
and imitate. So while you was doing it, you educated yourself, and then when it was case study.
Yes.
Case study. Yeah. So another question, something I wanted to ask too, like what's your, upon your business being so successful as you had opened many locations now, what's your aspirations? Like what's your vision for Caribbean Queen in the nearby future? Or like what do you envision? Do you envision 50 new locations or expanding to the US or opening maybe back home? Like in Jamaica?
Listen, man, don't care about the age. Women they hide the age. I'm 55 years of age. I was born 1968. I always tell myself that I am going to retire at age 50. And here I am in 2024, going down 56. We're going to be opening up another location. That's going to be a fine dine location. It's going to be a banquet hall. It's going to be huge, 5,000 square foot space.
Wow.
And one would say, Courtney, but you're not going to retire. I've learned something in this business. And I have modeled a couple of my landlords. And what I realize, it's not about Courtney anymore. It's about the legacy I'm going to leave behind. It's not about me. Nothing that I do today is about me. I could sell all 4 locations and just retire. The wife and I go vacation, whatever we want to do. What we are building right now, it's for my kids, kids, 3rd, 4th, 5th generation. And if they can have the same vision that I have in 2024, then in 2029, Caribbean Queen will be still going on. Not by Courtney, but by someone else. Mm-hmm. So my aim right now is just to do what the Lord has in store for us. And I always consult my God. I always pray. I always listen to my God. And if it's God's will for us to open 15, 20 locations, it's going to happen. If it's God's will for us to stay at 5 restaurants, it's going to happen. But my desire, my vision is to make sure that what I am doing now, I put a system in place to train people to make sure that if Courtney High should close tomorrow morning, then Caribbean Queen Restaurant will still be going on. Because it's not about me. Right now we have 25 employees at Caribbean Queen. And I'll tell you this, not all the stores make money.
Mm-hmm.
But every time that I look, I said, my God, there's an employee working over here. If you should shut that store down, what's going to happen? That employee as a dependent, that might depending on them, that also as a dependent down the road as well. It's a chain reaction.
Yep.
And so I always think about people. Always think about people. And that's what I do, Why I do what I do.
Wow.
That's incredibly commendable of you. Speaks to type of man that you are, and you've given us some background also. So it all aligns up and makes a lot of sense, and we could see why you're doing so well, and why your food is so good too, right? We're speaking from experience. So yeah. Did you have anything else?
Yeah, man. Not at the moment. I think that's some wisdom.
Yeah.
I think right. So I know we did ask about people who inspire, like what's message you can send to a person who inspired to go into the same field, but looking at the reality of the space that we are in. And as a person with wisdom, if you're watching the interview, you're already seeing some of the wisdom that he has dropped. What, I don't want to say education, but what advice could you give to the youth living in this community, looking at the tragedies that we encounter, that they encounter, and the parents have to deal with? So I would love to hear from an elder again, like what message could you give the youth? Because sometimes we might think like this is all there is, like as you had mentioned too, there's so much opportunity in the country, and me coming from outside of this country, like I needed to hear that, I needed to be reminded that. So some words that you would like to share.
I have done a couple of career lectures for some schools that they asked me to come in and do, because people hear about my work, people hear about all the different awards that we get from the JC, from the things that we do. I started an initiative in 2000, right in the pandemic, right in the middle of the pandemic. I started something where on Thanksgiving I gave away 2,000 food, and the 2,000 food was signifying the year that we had the pandemic, right? And so I said, I'm going to be giving away 2,000 meals. So I call up my suppliers who can give me a box of chicken, give me a box of chicken. I get my staff on board, and all of them volunteer, and we gave away 2,000 meal right down at Finch and Western Road. And so we started that tradition, we started that trend. Only last year we didn't do it, but by the grace of God, this year we're going to be doing it again. I have a message for the youths. But let me tackle the parents first. One of the biggest problems that we are having in the community is leadership. A lot of these kids don't have a role model. Parents need to start leading. You can't have the chat. You see, maybe it's trickling down from the government, but those of us who come from Jamaica understand what it is. When you're in Jamaica, you're in Jamaica. And when parents or adults talk, them talk. Mm-hmm. And so we listen. When you come over here, it could be the same thing. A lot of us are scared of the government. And one time, the child, I think it was a child worker whosoever came to my house about my son. When I finished talking to the lady said, Mr. Grant, you're absolutely right. Because if I don't correct, I'm not talking about you're going to ill-treat, beat. I'm not talking about that. But you're going to make sure that you live a life so that your kids can follow. And most of the time, kids will do exactly what they see the adults doing. So if we don't have a role model for them coming from home, when they get into the school, remember, my son, my daughter went to the same public school like everybody else. But here I am as a proud dad to say that my daughter is now doing law. You think she don't come at age 16, want to move out and want to go with boyfriend just the same? Yes, she do. But when I finished talking to her and showing her the way and guiding her, she changed the course. And so I'm saying to the parents, you can't give up on the kids. I'm saying to the adults, you can't give up on the kids. We need to make sure that we take them and we mentor them. Because when they get into the school, they're giving the teachers problem. And so let me speak to the kids. I was talking to a young man inside my restaurant. I asked him what he wanted to be in life. And he said, sir, I want to be a truck driver or something like that. I said, you want to be a truck? That's good. But what about the lawyer? What about the doctor? What about the teacher? What about the pilot? And he said to me that it's hard for a black man to become any of those things. I said to him, why would you think so? You already fail. If you are thinking you're in a country that the sky's is the limit, and you already telling yourself that you can't become a doctor, you can't become a lawyer, then you already fail, my son.
Yeah.
There is going to be challenges. There's going to be a cost to get there. But if you put a system in place, if your parents put a system in place, you can get there. So I'm saying to the kids, you need to change your mindset. You need to change the way you think. You need to change the way you look at life. You're living in Canada, a first world country, that there are a lot of opportunity out there for you. I am saying to you right now, as a successful businessman in this community, that you can make it by God's grace. But you need to change your mindset. That is what I have for these kids.
Educate, demonstrate, imitate.
Imitate, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. You sure you didn't copyright that?
You should.
Yeah,
You should.
Yeah.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, no, that's one I had.
You should.
That's huge.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you've given us a lot of nuggets here today, Courtney. We want to thank you again for coming by and sitting down with us, and sharing your knowledge. And I would just encourage everyone to, if you haven't been to Caribbean Queen, get out there today. When you hear this, go there, get yourself a jerk chicken or oxtail or something. And let's put our support behind this incredible man and what he's building, and help him as he helps our community and our youth.
Yes, and let me say thanks for the opportunity. Thanks, YAAACE, for the interview, and to the community. I want to say that thank you for your support. Thank you. I am a quick sale, small profit guy, and sometimes people come into the store and said, "Oh, the food is so cheap." It's a strategy. I deliberately make sure that I make the food affordable. Because, the communities that I'm in, you can't sell, a plate of rice for $20, right? And so, we make sure that we have different sizes. We have 5 or 6 different sizes. So if you can't eat a big one, you buy a small one. So that is the way I structure my business. And going forward, that is the way I intend to keep it going. And, thanks to the staff at Caribbean Queen Restaurants, without you, Courtney couldn't have made it, Thanks to my wife, thanks to Devon, Shivani, my extended family, let me say thanks to the Juniors family. You know, you guys have stood behind my business and you have supported us. And now, you know, we're moving into a whole different level. You know, we just started up another section of the business where we are now doing rentals. So renting plates or renting glasses. We're doing fine dine functions. So if you have your funerals, repast, we come out there, we set up the thing for you. And you know, I said I'm a quick sale, small profit guy. I don't kill you.
Yeah.
So you just call me up, you know, your Google Caribbean Queen, and you know, we are there for you, just like the community is there for us. Thank you very much.
For sure. And sorry, one last thing on people who are watching this. So to learn more about the rental business, is it also attached to the Caribbean Queen social websites and social media? Or
it's not on the website as yet. We're going to be creating, once we have the banquet hall fully established, we're going to be creating a whole different website for that, because that part of the operation is my wife aspect of the operation. So she's doing the rental. So you know, we are doing all of that right now, but it's just that we don't have our own space.
Okay.
Once we get our own space, then we're going to launch it in a different way. So we're going to advertise, we're going to do our thing and launch it in a different way. But the rental, if you're having a function, you want plate to rent, you want glass to rent, we do everything full scale. So we have our decorators that, you know, you just a one-stop shop thing. So you call Courtney and said, I have a birthday party. You don't have to go nowhere else. Tell me a color scheme. Tell me what you want, what day you want it, and I'll have it ready for you.
Okay. And right now, the best way to get in touch with you would be through the website, or
through the website,
through
or you know my cell. My cell is on my business card, 647-891-0672. That's my cell. Once you Google Caribbean Queen, my phone number is there as well. I'm the guy that does all the quotation for, you know, function. We are doing, you see, we started something in the pandemic that, because I want people to understand something right here. What I'm doing with Caribbean Queen Restaurant, I'm tapping into the community. So there are areas that our community couldn't afford. And so we are looking at the needs, we're looking at the demands, and we are making it affordable. For funerals, let me say this. If you don't have that big $3,000, $4,000 to put on a funeral, and you have 150 people, Caribbean Queen Restaurant will take care of you. You know what we do? We put it in small packages. We bring them out there, and we hand them out right to the church. So you don't need a banquet hall. You don't need nothing. Everyone that attend your funeral repast will be fed. We bring it out there and we pass it out. And they are looking very nice. And so a lot of people are doing that right now. They are ordering these 300 meals from us, just like the package that we do for the school over here. But these are, you know, nicer, bigger ones. So you get curry goat, chicken, rice and peas, little vegetable in the same box. And I'm not going to tell you the price, but just call me now. And we can organize it for you.
He said goat.
Yes.
All in one plate.
They all in the same plate, my friend. Yes.
That's a treasure hunt.
Wow.
That's a treasure hunt. No, that's amazing. No,
Yes.
thank you.
Yes.
Thank you again.
Yes.
Thank you for the wisdom. Thank you for your time. And thank you for letting us know more about your business. And it has been a great pleasure talking to you today.
Yes.
Thank
Thank you very much. Thank you.
That's great. This has been another episode of the YAAACE Time podcast. Thank you for tuning in. Stick with us. We got a lot more coming up.